Welcome to All Clear, the podcast that takes you beyond the rails. Brought to you by the team at Australian Jumping, this podcast dives into the stories, the people, and the horses shaping our sport. Whether you're a seasoned competitor or simply love the thrill of the clear round, All Clear delivers the conversations that matter. Hit subscribe and join us for a fresh perspective on the sport you love. Reese Keenan is joining us today for this episode. Reese has been competing in the junior ranks for a couple of years now, and last year she won the New South Wales State Junior Championship and was also awarded the New South Wales Jumping Junior Rider of the Year award at the recent Equestrian New South Wales Awards night. Reese has also recently stepped up to young rider level, and we're looking forward to chatting with her about her experiences as a junior and young rider, and what it's like competing in Australia at that level and how the transition to the young rider classes is going. Reese, welcome to All Clear.
Hi Joe, thanks for having me.
So Reese, for listeners who might not have met you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're based?
I'm from Tumut, New South Wales, which is a rural area, and I'm a bit far away from all the shows. It's about 5-hour drive to any show like Sydney.
Who do you train with down there?
I train with Stephen Dingwall. He's in Murrum Bateman. So that's a 2.5-hour drive away from us. So I do a 2.5-hour drive every time I want a lesson. And so it's about a day trip every time we go over for a lesson, but he's really good.
That's quite a big challenge living in such a rural location and a commitment to get to lessons. Can you talk us through how you got started with horses in the first place?
Been around horses forever. They've always been a big part of my life. I started in pony club when I was really little. Also, mum did reining when I was growing up. So I grew up riding reiners and I'd steal her horses and compete on her horses in reining. I do a lot of Western sports. And then I did Stockman's Challenge for a bit, but I always seemed to end up trying to jump these horses. So we decided to just start jumping. I started jumping in around like 2022 and got my first jumping horse and just started the lower height. And then I've got Vivi and he's been really, really good. Started training with Stephen and just, went from there.
So what was it about jumping that made you think that was what you wanted to do compared to the reining?
Well, reining, it's beautiful. I love it. And it's really technical. Like you have to have your horse so soft and I loved that. But it was it was judged on opinion, where show jumping is like, if you leave the rails up and if you're the fastest, you win.
So what has the experience been like for you competing as a junior?
First year I did juniors, I was kind of just stepping to 120s. So I was knocking rails. I wasn't having the best rounds, but we just stayed consistent. And Stephen always told me to just keep showing up and keep going out there and competing. So then the second year I was in the juniors, we started getting better results. And I am a pretty nervous person. So Stephen really helped with my nerves. He's a very relaxed person. He's too relaxed sometimes for me. But yeah, he's really helped me relax in the warm up because that's a huge thing in the juniors, in the young riders. The warm up can get pretty hectic. So just being really calm in there, focusing on softness, relaxation, and just the rhythm of the horse and just getting the mindset you want for the ring is like the big goal. And once I kind of did that, our rounds started getting better and Vivi started jumping really nice for me.
Was it just about getting your confidence up at that height? Was that the main thing, sort of keeping yourself calm?
Yeah. Because I'd never really jumped that big before and it was stepping up to that height. So the first year we did it, it wasn't the best. And then the second year, we really got to know each other. I know him so well now and we have a really good bond.
Had he competed at that level before or were you both learning together at that height?
So Vivi had jumped with Reese Stones at two, like I seen him jump 135 with him. Uh, he might have done mini prees, and but he did a lot of dressage work before jumping. So he jumped later on in his life. So he hadn't done heat, but he still had some experience at that height. So I was very confident in him to take me around, but it was just getting to know him and getting around with him.
And how did you manage to balance all the things in life with all the travel that you would have had to have done for the shows living in a rural location?
So I made a hard decision to do online uni because it's so much more flexible for the showing. I have to do so much travel, riding, like riding the horses takes up so much time of my day. And we live in a small town, so there's no universities close to where I live. Like, I think the closest one is an hour away, and I couldn't get there every day to make my lectures and tutorials and stuff. So, yeah, I'm doing online uni, which is really, really good. I'm really liking it.
What are you studying?
I'm studying a Bachelor of Accounting.
So you're pretty good when it comes to pacing out a course then?
Well, I like numbers and I like math, so I'm getting really good at Excel spreadsheets, which is good.
Well, that's a great life skill to have. So, what goes into the decision making process around what shows you're going to attend?
We try to pick shows that Stephen is going to. If we're not going to the same shows, that's all right. He tried to teach me as best as he can to be able to go to a show without him and be able to warm up. Mum warms me up. And yeah, so we're not as reliant on him, and he's taught me how to be able to handle myself in a situation like that. But we do try to go to shows that he is at. So we kind of plan around him a little bit. We try to do 2 shows a month, 2 big shows, and we try to take kind of the 2 best horses we've got going at the moment, or the 2 horses that suit that show the most. And the planning starts like way, way ahead, and we'll have to like have everything ready. We have to have a day of travel, which is like regular for most people. And then, yeah, just preparing the horses for the show, making sure they're fit, making sure we've got to a lesson before. So if we want a lesson that week, we'll have to probably go on Monday or Tuesday. And then I also have to think about my uni with that. I probably won't get much uni done that day. I also won't get much uni done the whole show. So I have to really do more uni like the weeks before the show.
It must be really helpful having your mum so experienced in horses as well, especially if Stephen can't be at a show with you. Your mum must have been a big help for you over the years, has she?
Oh, yeah, she's amazing. She's helped me with so much. And she was getting back into riding when I was little. So she would take me along to all the shows with her because she wasn't as confident as well. So I would come with her. And I think there was like in raining, there's a thing called open pen. So you would go out at like 3 o'clock in the morning and they'd have the pen open for all riders and you'd go out and just school your horse. But because I was so little and I'd go to shows with her, I was only like 5 or 6 or 7, and she didn't want to leave me in the float or the truck by myself. So I'd come out like at all hours of the morning, riding with her. I'd end up stealing her horses and competing in the same thing she did. And yeah, she's a big help. She does so much for me in the way of horses. Yeah, she's really, really amazing.
It must be lovely having her with you when you're competing as well and cheering you along from the sidelines.
Yeah, she's just as into it as I am.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. So what about the social side of the sport for you? I always look at you all having fun, watching the other classes. Have you made a lot of friends on the show circuit?
It's really good because you spend a lot of time away from home, so you have to make friends at the shows. And I've actually got a really good friend from where I live, and she comes to like all the same shows as us. So I hang out with her a lot. And all the other juniors and young riders are all super nice and super inclusive, and it's really, really fun at shows.
And do you enjoy watching all the bigger classes as well? Like, do you love it when your class is finished and then you can just sit back and watch the mini prix and the Grand Prix and the World Cups?
So I love when my class is really early and I'll have ages and I get to watch all the Grand Prix, the mini prix. I love watching the futurities, the young horses. And it's really cool to just be around so many World Cup riders, Olympians, so many people who like do the same thing as you and like so many people you aspire to be like.
So, do you want to talk us through who you've got in your stable, what level of competition you're at with each of them?
So, of course, I've got Vivi, PPP Vivillamore, and he's my young rider horse at the moment. And we're just stepping up to young riders. And I'm really, really happy with how he's going. He's just amazing. I love him. Like, he's such a character. Or, he has this thing where he has to go into this separate paddock that's very grassy after he's ridden. He likes to be taken down to the river because we live on a river. He likes to be taken down to the river and ridden in the river as like a fitness day and like kind of like a day off for him. He's amazing. I've also got Barry, Luna Barrichello, which I've had for 3 years now. I got him as a 4-year-old and I've taken him up the heights from, he didn't jump before and have started jumping him 120s, and he's recently won a 6-year-old 120 at Waratah. So he's really, really cool. He's out for paddock rest at the moment because we've just got shows that suit the other horses more at the moment. I've got Luna Cuccinelli. He's really, really amazing. Like, he's jumped World Cups and he's a bit older now, so I'm doing the juniors on him. And he's from Millie Woods. She sent me him and I just absolutely love him. He's so cool. He's so cruisy and he's such just a fun horse to ride. And then I've also from Millie, I've got Luna Countess. And I did some juniors on her and she's just got an amazing jump. She's just, beautiful. Like, I love her jump so much.
So, how do you decide which horses you're going to take to each show?
Mostly with what juniors and young rider classes are there and what heights they are. Because there are some 115 juniors, there's some 120 juniors, some 125 juniors. Like, juniors at those champs will be 135 at the last day. So I probably won't take my younger horse there because he's not ready for that. But I'll take Butch there because he's a bit more experienced and has more experience jumping that height.
You've already achieved so much. Winning the New South Wales Junior Championship last year, that must have been an incredible experience for you, was it?
Oh, that was amazing. That was one of the first bigger things I won. And I was just so excited. It was one of my first rounds. And Vivi just jumped amazing. And we kind of clicked then. And ever since then, he's just taken me around everywhere. And yeah, he's been so good.
And then that led you, partly towards being named the Equestrian New South Wales Jumping Junior Rider of the Year. So you were at awards night. That must have been fairly special too.
That was really, really cool. I didn't even expect to get anything like that. Thinking back, we did a lot of juniors. We did a lot of competitions. We were out competing all the time and he was just amazing.
Before we continue with this chat, I would like to thank Divas Beverages for sponsoring this podcast and for all they do for our jumping community. Divas Beverages is a business that truly gives back to the sport we love. Visit divasbeverages.com.au to explore their full range of carefully crafted premium beverages. Now back to our guest. You were in the young rider classes at Willinga Park. Was that the first time that you'd competed at that level?
That was my second experience. My first experience was at Waratah, and we stepped up to the young riders in the indoor, which was probably not the best idea. So then we've stepped back down on the grass where Vivi's so comfortable. He's so comfortable out in a big open arena. So then going to Willinga was another great place to step back up and have another crack at the 135, and jumped amazing there. I was really happy with him.
Is that a
Right.
big transition mentally, stepping up from juniors to young riders?
Yeah, definitely. I got really nervous for the first couple, and I still get really nervous, but it's more about I'll go walk the course and I'll be like, whoa, that's really big. And you don't really realize it's that big when you're on the horse, but when you're off the horse and looking at it and walking the course, I kind of get in my head about it. Yeah, Stephen always seems to bring me down and relax me a little bit.
There was the big crowd as well. Did you feel that you had the crowd watching and cheering for you as well?
Yeah, I can remember in one of the juniors, there was a big crowd. I don't know why there was a really big crowd. It was like in the morning. And, but I kind of just zoned out of the crowd and was just focusing on my round. And then after I looked up, I was like, whoa, that's like a lot of people.
So what are your goals now for the rest of the year and then also moving into next year?
So I'm going to Oz juniors. It'll be my last year in juniors. So I'm hoping for a good result there. That's been what we've been working towards all year, is Oz Champs juniors. That's why I started jumping the young riders, just to prepare to jump the bigger height there. So yeah, just hoping for a good result at Oz Champ in the juniors.
And how do you see yourself moving forward in the sport? Is this something that you see yourself doing in the future? Is it a career for you? I know you've mentioned that you're studying accounting. Do you think that will be your career moving forward, or would you like to have a career in the sport?
I'd love to have a career in the sport. I feel like accounting is more of a backup plan. I love young horses, so I'd love to train young horses right through from babies to World Cup. I'd love to jump World Cup. I'd love to go overseas and jump overseas. I'd love to take a horse that I've trained overseas and jump. I really enjoy coaching. I haven't had much experience. If anyone like asks for help, I get like really happy, and I would love to be a coach one day and have like a little team of horses and riders to go around the shows with.
That sounds fantastic. And you've said obviously how much of a help Stephen's been for you in the process. Are there any other riders in particular that you look up to in Australia or internationally?
I look up to so many people at shows. I really relate to Jen Woods, especially after hearing her podcast. There's so many young riders who are now World Cup riders or just like riders in general that I look up to so much. Yeah, probably Jen Woods is one of the people I really look up to and see myself in a lot.
So, if you were to give some advice to a junior or a child that's looking to step up to the next levels, what sort of advice would you give?
Probably the advice Stephen gave me and mum when we were having trouble is just to keep showing up and be consistent. And if you're consistent and keep showing up, the results will come.
That sounds like fantastic advice. So, Reese, we've got a tradition on this podcast that the previous guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing who that guest will be. And this is a little bit tricky for you today because I've actually got two questions, because the guests that were before you was a joint podcast with Jamie Winning Kermond and with Rachel Peel. And I'm going to give you the first question, which comes from Rachel, and she'd like to know how you prepare for a big class.
So I normally try not to think about it too much before because I seem to get in my head about it. I like to if I've got a thought, I'll write it down really quick or I'll like put it in my notes on my phone and I'll just make sure that everything is prepared so I don't stress out before the class. Like I'll make sure I'm not late. I'll make sure I've got everything in order so I'm not stressed out before the class and I can just focus on writing and walking the course. And
So Jamie would like to know, what do you actually enjoy most about shows outside of the competition arena?
so outside of competing, I take this show as a holiday. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. So we do a lot of like we'll go out for dinner. Dad might come. He doesn't come to all the shows, but if he comes to a show, it's pretty special. We always kind of go out for dinner and just hang out around the show. I always hang out with my friends when they're there, which is really fun. Yeah.
Is there anything else about shows that you would like to see that they don't do at the moment?
I do like the social aspect of shows. So I'd like when there's like a barbecue or something like that just before the show. I reckon that's a really good idea to keep doing that.
I think that's really nice. So have you got a question for our next guest?
Yes. Luckily, I had two because my question was kind of taken. Do you have any rituals or superstitions that you follow before a big class or a big competition?
That's a great question. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me this evening, Reese. It's been really lovely catching up with you, and I wish you all the best for AusChamps, and I look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks so much for having me.